morning. Welcome to Politics is Power.
Good morning. Welcome to Politics is Power. We're here today with Keith Bradford. He's running for County Commissioner of District 1. And we have Robin Bradford, his husband, or his husband, I should say. His wife, excuse me. Getting mixed up, you can tell her in the morning. She's running for U.S. District 92, House District 92, which is the new district. Welcome you back again. Politics is Power is a media relations group and research institute dedicated to the promotion of progressive policies. And each week we are having a show where we talk about the various issues going around in Charlotte as well as the nation. But today we're going to talk to these lovely couple here that's, in my opinion, making history by running for office at the same time. Two different offices, but running for them at the same time. So with that, we're going to ask them some questions.
Hi, Robin. Hi, Keith.
Hi.
Hello. I have a question for you. Are you the first dynamic duo couple running for office in Mecklenburg County, as you know, as well as the state, being married at the same time?
At this point, to my knowledge, yes, there's been husband and wife estranged running for the same seat at the same time. But to my knowledge, we're the only couple that's insane enough to run at the same time.
Okay.
Wonderful.
How has this race affected your marriage, do you think?
I think it's brought us closer because we all. You can't go without a day without talking about politics. So now with both of us running, we get to critique each other. When she ran before, I was always on her about how she ran. But now with both of us running, she can critique me also on what I'm doing and what I need to be doing better.
And it's also a check and balance. Are you really serious? Is this really important enough to, in some cases, split our household financially and time-wise to make sure that we're as effective as possible to run the race.
Okay. So, what are some of the issues that brought you into this race? Like, I know you guys are running for different races, but what are some of the issues that made you say, you know what, I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to get into politics. Politics is a very hard game to get into. So, what made you get into it?
Well, for me, it was lack of representation that I was getting up in my district. Mm-hmm. I've never met the lady unless I go to the county commission meeting. And where I'm at is such a dynamic area because we do have the lake up there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of activities going on, mm-hmm. and you look at her website and she has 4 pictures of the same area that she went to when they opened a baseball field up in Lake Norman. Mm-hmm. But and for me, my wife will probably tell you more, but it came to me strange because it would wake me up in the middle of the night, Doug. I would get these ideas in my head on, we could be doing this. This will be better for Mecklenburg. I think we can do this. And that's really got me what started. I would wake her up and, she's like, why are you waking me up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning? Get these ideas in my head. And I just got that bug. I said, you know what? If I want to make change, I want to see change happen, I got to do something about it.
Okay.
And for me, I've always been into politics. My idol from 1972 was Shirley Chisholm when she ran for president. And that really inspired me. The only way to make change is to be about change. And in 2010, the Democrats lost the House after 100 years. And all the promises and platforms that the Republicans stood on, they turned around and they made it a social issue. And they started taking away things that we worked so hard to maintain, especially for women. And with this new seat, would give them an additional representation. And I needed to be in that seat. We needed to have a strong progressive Democrat who stood for what's right and to bring back all of the issues and items that they set back within 2 years.
Okay.
My next question is, what was your reaction and when did you find out that your spouse was going to be running for office? What was your reaction?
My reaction was, really? But, my husband, he's a closet politician. He's the person who constantly is watching all of the news media, MSNBC, CNN, et cetera, et cetera. So he had his finger on the pulse. And, where I'm more out in front with it, he was behind, pushing the political issues. So I was very happy. I just went over what's expected of him and how rigorous it would be. But, I'm excited. I'm excited to support my husband.
And for me, she's always been, involved in politics. So it wasn't a surprise to me that she was going to run. It was just what seat she was going to run for. What I think she wanted to see what she can make the most positive influence on, what seat would make the most positive influence for Mecklenburg County, where she can touch everything. She did run for school board before. She had a split vote because it was another Democrat running, so it kind of split her vote. But I think with the seat she's running now, she can do more for the children, for the education of Mecklenburg County and other issues also.
We're actually connecting the county to the state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I'm going to get into some bread and butter issues real quick. And this question is for you, Keith. The transportation in Charlotte is pretty rough.
Yes, it is.
Traffic jams all the time. And there has been a lot of discussion about extending the light rail up to your area. What is your view on the light rail? A lot of people in Charlotte feel like it's not comprehensive enough, that we need to probably expand it more like the MARTA in Atlanta or the Metro in DC. What do you feel about it?
Well, coming from a big city, New York, transit, railroad system was a big thing. That was the best way to get around. So I think here it would be the same thing because Charlotte is growing so fast that it would alleviate some, like you said, your traffic jams that you got. It would open up more economic development because then around the stations, people can open up stores. Somebody can be an entrepreneur and open a little cab station. Somebody don't want to take the car to the train station. You got cab service that you can take. Then also you can also have people move further out of Charlotte. Go past Statesville. Even like in Vail, North Carolina, or Statesville. You can move further out. So you're not, making Charlotte such a clog. So you just take a train, but maybe take an hour to get in. But that's time you can be reading, you can be resting, getting ready for work, going in. So I think expanding the railroad line would be great for Mecklenburg.
Yeah, definitely it will, because like you said, there's so much bad traffic even from where I live at in the South Side, and I know Rosa lives in the South Side as well. Trying to get on the 77 to get uptown could take you almost an hour.
Exactly. The
traffic is so bad here. And the next question for both of you guys, talking about taxes, and if you're elected, you will be in the state house and county commission. As you know, the city manager proposed a 9% tax hike for the city, because he said that if we do not raise the taxes and try to even out the tax burden, that Charlotte could actually decline in 5 to 10 years, which I thought was very shocking. But in addition to that, the governor wants to increase the sales tax to fund pre-K education, I believe it is. What is your view on both of you on taxes and how it should be, directed to education and the city? How should it be directed in the city to help the city to grow?
Well, first of all, everybody's afraid of the word tax and taxes unless you're receiving a return. And with this economy on the downside and a lot of people unemployed, why do I need to be taxed? But on the flip side, we have to maintain our regular structure. We have to make sure that children are getting educated. We have to make sure that our A1 bond rating doesn't drop due to the fact that we do not have the money to support our system. So even though the word tax may appear to be a bad word, it's a word that we need. It's a money that an income that we need to generate to make sure that we have the sustainability and that we're able to move forward. Taxing isn't always bad, and we need to look at it for what it's worth. If we're not going to tax, we look at the Republicans, they talk about big government coming in, but if you look at the services that are received, Republicans are doing really well receiving those services, and if we don't have the taxes to undergird those types of services, then we'll really be in a downward spiral that we can never get out of.
And I believe I want to go even higher and take my president's lead and raise the taxes, but raise it on that 1% of the people that are making the millions and billions of dollars. Let them pay their fair share into it. I mean, they for years made their money on us, the middle class and the lower class. Let's let them go in now and put a little bit more up now to help the economy and help America get back on its feet. So I think we can follow the president's lead and go on to the 1%ers that need to raise their taxes.
Yeah.
Tell us about the platform, about your platform, and what makes you different from your opponent.
Well, currently I don't have an opponent because I'm not in the primary. And there's 2 Republicans who are in the primary. My platform stands towards education, economic development, and social issues. And the only reason why I added social issues in is because the Republicans have made that their mantra for 2010 in the General Assembly. We have to go back, get back to grassroots, make sure that the concerns and issues are heard by the constituents in your area. I think so many people get elected into office and forget who elected them in. You're there to represent the concerns and the issues of your constituency. And on the state level, it's even greater because once you do make that vote and you stand for those issues, it goes across the board on the state. So I'm very strong about grassroots. I'm very strong about community meetings quarterly and making sure that I'm doing the job of the people and not the job of Robin.
And to piggyback on that, I agree with her also. I like to be in small groups where I'm coming out to the communities, letting them know what's going on, and let them have a voice because I'm there for them. I'm not there for myself. I'm there to representing the community, so I want them to have a word, a say in what goes on. Also, different from my opponent, I haven't met him yet, but I will be meeting him shortly. Education. I have a real big, strong thing on education because I like to see our children, our future. Yeah. If we don't teach them or educate them now, we're just going to fall more by the wayside, and it'll just be a more downward spiral. So we need to really get into the education, teaching children, so they can be the next workforce for us.
Okay.
All right. My next question is, how is this affecting your family as far as running? Are you guys getting support from the outside, not just your immediate family, but other family members on the outside? How do they feel about it? Were they excited? Did they say it was going to be a little too much for you? What was their response?
Well, I think human nature dictates that, especially if they're family, your close associate to inner circle, want to give you all the negatives. Mm-hmm. And they want to make sure that you exhausted all of those thoughts in the process. But we come from a strong family. We're a strong nucleus ourselves, and we can agree to disagree and move forward. But they are supportive. Very surprised with Keith running, but very supportive, and we thank God for that.
And I think our immediate family. We have a youngest daughter. She's 7, and she's in elementary school. But you would know she's getting more exposure to the politics game. Well, I don't say game, but politics itself. And she's the first one out there with you. Go out and vote for my mom, vote for my dad. They're running, and she knows what office we're running for. Yeah. So she's out there out there with us, and she doesn't have a mind. I mean, she doesn't have a problem talking to people. She's not very shy at all. Our oldest daughter, she's away at school at Hampton University, and she's very supportive of us. Mm-hmm. So as long as we have that nucleus, that immediate nucleus, everybody else, will come
follow suit.
Follow suit.
Awesome.
Yeah. That that's good that you're getting your children involved in politics because at many times children are not very involved in the political arena. So that's very good.
Thank you.
Very good. One question we want to ask, I know we're running short on time, is more of a national question. Since we're kind of in the subject of parenting and children, with the Trayvon Martin killing in Florida, in Sanford, Florida. How do you feel about that case? As parents, and again, the media says, and a lot of black men have come out in the media and said that when they were growing up, their parents told them to say X, Y, and Z to the police. And I know I experienced that even growing up in New York and coming down here. It's the same thing. My mom and dad told me that. But how do you guys feel about this case?
It just reminds me, and it should remind the world, that the African American community, as vital as we've been since the time we walked on the United States of America, that we are viable people, but we're not recognized as if any other person. We're the most discriminated. We're the most negative connotations placed upon us. If he was white and had that hoodie on, would he have been pursued so viciously? we have to step back and understand and take responsibility what's going on. If it was a book my friends made called The Black Man's Handbook for Being Outside, and I wish I still had a copy of it, but it went through a whole series of things that regular mainstream people take for granted, where our young black boys can't take for granted. And it saddens me that gentleman was not arrested. Due process wasn't done as if it was done for someone else.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that America has to come out the way that they're coming out to make sure that this man gets arrested and due process is done. So instead of saying that we've all arrived, we haven't arrived. We have to really take our group, our black group, into full consideration and realign ourselves with what's right and the perception that's going on out there.
And I think also, you can go back to when our president got in office, how disrespected he got, and he holds the highest position in the land. So somebody, a young man like that wearing a hoodie, what kind of respect was he going to get? It's almost like you hear all the people on the radio and news now say you almost got to go out wearing a tuxedo now.
Yeah.
To go anywhere.
Seriously.
Not even to take it seriously, just to see, okay, he ain't got a hoodie on, or
he's not a threat.
He's not a threat. Yeah.
So it's just crazy. Real quick, I know we're short on time. I see on your card here that we have early voting starting April 19th.
Yes.
Can you tell our viewers where they can go to early vote? What are the locations?
From my understanding, it's the Harold Marshall Center in Charlotte. You also have the libraries, the Beatties Ford Road, the North Regent Library, the South Regent Library, and there might be one other location. But to really find out exactly where, go to mecboe.org. That's Mecklenburg Board of Elections, and it'll have the whole listing of early voting. But it's important to get out for early voting. This is where the decisions are made. Please don't wait the last minute.
Yeah.
And my husband needs your support.
Yes, I do.
He's a good Democrat.
Definitely.
So how can we reach you as well? What your website address is, please?
I have a website address. Mine is vote. That's my email. Vote KeithBradford.com.
Vote Keith
Bradford.com.
Sorry. Vote KeithBradford.com. You can contact him there, and his phone number is 704-806-5072. And he needs volunteers, so if you're interested in making sure that he makes it to the general, then please contact him either the website, votekeithbradford.com, or by his phone number, 704-806-502.
72.
Sorry, I don't call him that much.
You can tell this is a couple right here.
And what about you, Robin? How will we get in touch with you?
My website is robinbradfordnc.com. My number is 704-488-7608. And even though I'm not in a primary, your support is needed now. We need to make sure that this new seat is a Democratic seat. I'm the only Democrat in the race, and that's robinbradfordnc.com, 704-488-7608. If you want to see change, you need to get the two of us in office. We're connecting the county to the state.
Well, let me ask you one last question. What is the one thing you want people to remember you by?
Well, for me, I want you to remember that I am an honest person. I do stand for what's right. If I have to stand alone, I will stand alone. I'm not going to be part of the group just to make things easy. And if you want someone to represent you, I'm the person to do it.
And as for myself, I'd like everybody to know that I just want to get Mecklenburg County to start thinking out of the box. Don't think the same way we always think for everything that goes on. Don't stand there and let Duke Energy run your electric bill up. If you want to fight against them, petition against Duke Energy raising your bill. Don't let our kids in the education system, don't just keep teaching the same way we've been teaching them with the books. Let's teach some kids. Some kids learn differently than others. Let's teach them some technology. Let's get them back into agriculture. I'm a big component of having these kids learn farming. That's a big business that we can still get back into. And also textile and building the roads and the bridges. So there's a lot of things that we can do if they can't make it in education.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm your host, Rosa Garvin, as well as Douglas.
Thank you for having us.
Douglas Wilson. And you may be wondering why we're around a kitchen table today. Well, we're talking about kitchen table issues in politics, and politics is always discussed around the kitchen table, the water cooler, and that's what we encourage you to do, to discuss the issues with your friends and family.
Thank you all for joining us back with Politics is Power. I'm your host, Rosa Garvin.
Along here with Douglas Wilson.
And we have Willie Fleming Jr. He is the president of the African American Caucus of the state of North Carolina. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Fleming.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Would you tell us a little bit about yourself as far as the caucus is concerned, and what are your goals with the African American Caucus?
Well, I tell you, mostly my goals about me. My major is sales and marketing. I'm not a political science major, but I believe that the thing about any political organization is getting numbers together. So I think that's one of the things with me, and that's my goal. Is to organize as many counties in the state of North Carolina for the African American Caucus. We got 100 counties, and I think so far today we have 22 organized. So I got 78 to go.
Yes.
The goal is to make sure that the voice of the African American communities are heard, and our concerns are being met by the people that we put in office. We elect our elected officials.
What are some of the most challenging issues do you see facing the African American community in the state of North Carolina?
Well, I think it's in two parts. One is voter registration and voter education. One other problem that we have, economics, is our dropout rates or in African American communities, our unemployment rates, things like that, but it kind of all rolls into one. But again, our job is to make sure we get people registered, motivated to get out to vote, and also make sure that we organize the counties.
Okay.
Well, you know that we have two African Americans running for Lieutenant Governor, Senator Eric Mansfield from Fayetteville, and Linda Coleman, who worked in the Purdue administration. How do you feel that the fact that it's quite possible that we could have a black lieutenant governor?
I would very much love to have a black as African American. Hopefully, it can be a race to where it's about what they can do for the African American communities and how they can move us forward. I think it's great that we got them stepping up to the plate to run. But again, it's more about holding the African Americans that we elect to office accountable. Now, I hadn't met either one personally yet, and the only thing I've known is what I've read, a little small article I've read. So hopefully, we'll have them down in the forum and then let people decide which one's the best candidate.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned to Rosa about some key issues. As you know, unemployment has been so high in our community, even before Barack Obama was president. Why do you think unemployment still remains high in the African American community? And we know that Mecklenburg's unemployment actually just went up the other day. Why do you think it's so high for African Americans?
I think again we go back to voter education and registration, and we have so much of the vote in Mecklenburg County. I think I heard last time I heard it was 53. Somebody said today earlier it was around 60%. To have double unemployment and have the largest block of voter to help elect officers, it's not in sync. One of the things I think is happening is our neighborhoods, our education, economics. Period. When you take a parent that's out of work and they can't provide for the family, that child goes through turmoil. And when that turmoil is, they try to either one, get out and get a job, help their parents, two, try to go to school and not be assured a job even after they get out of college. So I think that and not saying do something specifically for the African Americans, but since we are at the back of the bus, pull us up some.
Tell us a little bit about the coalition that you have going on.
Well, I tell you what, and one of the things I'm proud of is that to stop the stigma that all this is black and all this is white. We're all Democrats. It's just that our coalition is built up of minorities. Well, minorities and the senior Dems. It seems that a coalition works better working together than the Democratic Party so much. Again, we had a lady run for the SEC. My first vice chair was Cherry Booth. And the reason that she won against so many of the candidates running against her was because of the coalition. Coalition build bridges, and bridges is what we need to cross over into the issues that we have today. So I'm very proud to have the Asians, the Hispanics, the senior Dems, again, that comes along with us on the issues that we face together as minority groups.
Okay. Now, my next question is, what is the one thing you want people to remember about the African American Caucus?
That we stopped the myth about African Americans not work together. We stopped the myth about there's so much turmoil in the African American organizations that we're not effective or efficient. I want to let them know that every organization has problems, but we can work together. And I think the thing that's happening is that so many people in the African American community seem like they have this crab in the barrel mentality, egotistical about being a leader. You know, people work better with you than for you. Now, I want to lead. I want to dispel that myth. I think that we can build, we can work, we can put qualified candidates in the office, and we don't have to do it with a frown worrying about what job that Mr. Wilson got, what job Mr. Garvin has. It's all of us working together to make it happen. That's what I want to leave behind. Let people know we can work together and be efficient and effective.
We all know that the Black African American Church is the heartbeat of the African American community. How can African American churches get more involved in the political process, and in particular with the AAC?
Well, again, you know, our mission statement says we bring the concerns of the African American communities to our elected officials and to make sure that they act on our concerns. I think that's basically some of the same issues that the black churches have. You know, that's like you said, that was the backbone for so many years. To get anything done, you had to go to the black churches. But it's changed a little now. And, you know, you got black Republicans, black independents, and due to a nonprofit organization, they have to be careful on the nonpartisanship.
Yeah.
But I think what we do is we go in and tell them why we exist, why it's important. Because I think one of the things that happened, back to another question, you can vote all the Democrats into office. And if they don't know the concerns of the African American community, we still don't change. Nothing changes. So the churches need to get involved. And I plan to get to as many as possible to try to let them know what our platform is, and let them know why we're there.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will let them know that, you know, that's not a separation of God and church. It's saying we're working together to try to accomplish the same goals that God would have for us. I don't think He wants anybody to be in poverty or anybody go hungry or anybody not having a roof over their head. So, and that's just how I feel about, you know, the church and the state.
Hey, I know we're running short on time. Can you tell our viewers how they can get in contact with the state AAC? Sure.
You go to our website. Facebook page is AACNCDP.org. That's our webpage.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
And now you can also call me personally. I take all calls, and my number is 704-713-4481. And then we do have a Facebook page. Again, that's you know, something I go on Facebook, but I'm not. It's the African American Caucus, North Carolina Democratic Party.
Okay, thank you. Well, Mr. Fleming, we thank you for joining us again today, and I would love to have you back again.
Well,
and always remember,
Politics is power.